Greetings to all of the viewers. So our topic for today is all about the global city and the global migration. So before I proceed, let me remind you or let me answer the key points. So number one, why study global cities? So bakit nga ba natin pinag-aaralan ang global cities? So let me explain. To explain the contribution that we can make to develop a rapidly changing the world. So we have three types of studying global cities. Number one is technological innovation. 2, economic development. 3, infrastructure. So, ayun nga. Let's move on to defining the global city. The global city are also called as the power city is a node in the global economic network, and according to hierarchy, importance to the operation of the global system of finance and the trade. So, there are 4 types of global cities according to 2019 rankings. So, number 1 is New York. So, why? Why is New York? Because New York is considered as global city and it has a powerful organizations that are linked to the other parts, and many of the major corporation and multinational companies are headquartered in this city. So the second is Tokyo. So, Tokyo, alam naman natin, Tokyo is Japan. Tokyo is formerly known as Shogunal Capital Edo. It is most important city for more 400 years, and it is the remarkable recovery from near complete destruction by Allied fire bombing. So, the next is London. This city is a metropolitan and has a mixture of different cultures. Besides that, London are also a very high index. Yes. And lastly, but not the least, the Los Angeles. Yep. The Los Angeles, in some respects, Los Angeles is the most global city in the world. It is that, or rather, it does not have the highest foreign-born population, but it has the most varies. Hollywood and everything that it means probably has the most dominant global city penetration. Okay? Let's move on to the global city and the poor. So, ano nga po ba ang global city and the poor? Itong global city and the poor, in the fact, these cities across the world has to be accelerated dramatically. It increasingly clear that the benefits of this growth are very unevenly distributed. Yes. This global city and the poor are, in fact, this city across the world has to be accelerated dramatically. Super indeed. So, let's move on to number 1. What is migration? Migration is the first and the foremost a normal human activity. Human beings have always moved from one country, place of residence, to settle in another. We migrate between regions, beside cities and towns, and also migrate between countries. So, yun. Let's move on to another key points is benefits and detriments for sending countries. So, we have negative effects. Yun. We have number 1 is loss of labor, and 2, population. So, dun muna tayo sa number 1, no? Sa loss of labor. Ano nga po ba ang loss of labor? Etong loss of labor is it is a loss if people migrate to the other countries. Yon. And many jobs still require a lot of manpower, like power plant, and factories. Losing people, we have a shortage labor force. So, secondly is population. Population is reduction. Population can lead to reduction to the statistical population of the country. So it is also a loss if the people who live the country are youth or younger people, as it will leave the sending country without their younger people. Then third, deprivation of family attention. So what is it? It is usually relying on them to find a better living, but it can deprive the family of their relative. We have the negative effects, the loss of labor population, and the last is deprivation of family attention. So let's move on to positive effects. A while ago or earlier, I recite to us or to you the negative effects, and now I say to you the positive effects. So number 1 is provides a better quality of life. Number 2 is job opportunities. And number 3 is it nurtures intelligence and skills. So dun muna tayo sa number 1. Okay, number 1 is provides a better quality of life. So ano to? Ano nga ba to? Ito, before I proceed earlier, pinag-aralan ko talaga tong positive effects na to. Ito talaga pinagtutukan ko na pansin. So itong positive effects or that provides a better quality of life is often financially motivated. No, immigrants seeks a better lifestyle as a migrating to a better country, allows them to financially support their family or for themselves. Next is job opportunities. No, so migrant experience finding job easier than their own countries. So many first countries, many laborers. So in return, it gives more initiative for migrants to find these jobs. So last number to. Yes, lastly, self-positive effects. Excuse me. It nurtures intelligence and skills. So many people who migrate tend to find a job that often require technical skills. So knowledge and skills can be improved as they can be exposed to fields that often exercise these skills, and they can be more knowledgeable and innovative towards their respective occupation. So, tapos tayo sa positive effects. I enumerate the 3 positive effects, which are the provides a better quality of life, job opportunities, and the last is it nurtures intelligence and skills. Another example of a country with a large amount of migration to other countries. So number 1 is the Mexico. Mexico is the most prominent country who has many immigrants to other countries, particularly to US. Some occupation, they have a housekeeper, maid, food establishments, and the farming. They have a total of 10.9 million migrants in the US. So, ayun nga. Next is the problem of human trafficking. So, question is, what is human trafficking? Yeah, before I proceed, what is human trafficking? Yes, tama yan. Tama yan. All the answers are correct. But, human trafficking involves the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain some type of labor or the commercial sex act. Every year, millions of men, women, and children are trafficked worldwide, including right here in the US or the United States. It can happen in any community, and in victims can be any age, the race, the gender, or the nationality, right? Traffickers might use rather manipulation or false promises or well-paying jobs, a romantic relationship to lure victims into trafficking situation, according to Department of Homeland Security. So, who are the victims of human trafficking? Who are the victims nga ba? Alam niyo po ba yung sagot? Yes. So, who are the victims? Millions of men and women, as well as children, are victims of this human trafficking. Yun. Yes po. Tama yung narinig nyo. Magpalalaki, magpababae, magpabata, victims sa human trafficking. All over the million people trafficking annually, people of low income, people with low level education. Women, lahat ng tayo or ako, women, mga babae, is 49%, and girls 23% make up the majority of all reported human trafficking cases, including 99% of victim of sex. Ito talaga yung problema, yung sex victims, dahil sa lahat sa mga babae. Sex trafficking and 58% of victims in all commercial industries. So next is men, or the boys. Men is 21% or 7%. Also constitutes a significant share of human trafficking victims. So, ang sa babae is sex trafficking. Ano naman sa lalaki? So, sa lalaki is included a majority of those trafficked in male-dominated industry such as agriculture, construction, and manufacturing. Men or boys are also make up the majority victims of organ removal. Yun, pag lalaki, nandito lumalabas yung nandito yung mga bakla, lumalabas yung mga hindi nating hindi gawa ng Diyos. Ayan, like bakla, yun. Yun. So next is the causes of human trafficking. Ano nga ba mangyayari sa human trafficking, or the cost? So, the poverty and the search for a better life, demand for cheap labor, and lastly, the lack of legitimate economic opportunities. So, what impact does human trafficking have on the world? Human trafficking is a multi-dimensional threat. It deprives people of their human rights and the freedom. It is a global health risk and it is fuels the growth of organized crime. So human trafficking has this devastating impact on individual victims who often suffer physical and emotional abuse, the rape, the threats, the against selves and the family passport theft, and even the death. Yes, well, even the death. Lastly, the impact of human trafficking goes beyond individual victims. It is the undermines the safety and the security of all nations it touches. Yeah. This is the impact the impact human trafficking have on the world. Human trafficking dito sa mundo natin. No? This is absolutely indeed. So, impact of COVID-19 in human trafficking yon. Ito, super indeed. Despite na meron ba tayong COVID-19, and speak of COVID, yon, magsipag-ingat po ang lahat. Kahit naka-vaccine tayo, mag-ingat pa rin tayo, no? Short at palatos lang yun. Charot. So, ayun. Let's go back. So, impact of COVID-19 to human trafficking. So, COVID-19 impacts the capacity of state authorities and non-governmental organizations and to provide essential services to the victims of this crime. So, dramatic increases is employment and reductions in incomes, especially for low-wage informal sector worker means the significant numbers of people who were already vulnerable and find themselves in even more precarious circumstances. So, yun. The increased level of domestic violence reported in many countries, it is a worrying indicator for living conditions. So, many trafficking victims, such as those in domestic servitude or sex slavery, forms of exploitation that disproportionately affect women or the girls. Okay, yun. I think this is the last. What needs to be done? What needs? So there is a critical need for increased rescues of trafficking victims and prosecution of traffickers. So, protect and assist victims by providing shelters as well as health, psychological, and legal, as well as vocational services. Rather, vocational. So, prosecute human trafficking by providing training and technical assistance for law enforcement officials such as police, prosecutors, and judgments. And I hope you learn about the global city and the global migration. So I guess this is the end of my presentation. So thank you very much for watching, and stay safe and hydrated, and God bless. And pahabol, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye bye.